Today was one of those choppy days, man, so choppy. And it's funny because I woke up so motivated and ready to conquer the world. Well, in my case, conquer the stock market. Well, actually, more like conquer myself, because we have to conquer ourselves before we have any chance of conquering the stock market. So the first trade that I made was on KHC Craft, and Craft was down about 4 or 5% in the pre-market because its second largest investor is reducing its stake in the company. So it sold off in the pre-market. In the pre-market, it got as high as about 29.62, which is yesterday's previous price or previous close price, and it sold off. So in the open, I was looking at it, and I was patient in the open. I didn't want to jump the gun, but I decided to short it right here. This topping tail right here on the second bar was my confirmation. The fact that the stock was down in pre-market. We have this red line right here, which is the 200 simple moving average acting as resistance. So I shorted it right below all the moving averages and VWAP, and it popped up on me, but I held. I didn't want to jump the gun because I trusted this topping tail. If the price had gone above this high, and then I would have stopped out for a loss. It was still a loser because I was actually it was a break even. It just did not want to make a new low. It bounced off this level again, which is around 28.25, and once I saw 28.25 holding right here, and this big green bar just sprouting up, I got out for a pretty much a break even. It was a choppy day. I mean, everything was chopping up left and right. As you can see, I actually took a bunch of trades today, which I'm not happy about. So that was the first trade on KHC. The second trade was on MU. So MU is a stock that I always have on my watch list, and on MU it's unfortunate. I was actually on the money on it, but so on the daily chart, MU has been steadily going up, and for the past 4 days it's been consolidating. Each bar represents, in this case, 1 day of price action. So it's consolidating, and it was either gonna go up or down from where the stock was. So I saw it selling off, but then it came back up. We have the 200 moving average acting as support, and it popped up. We're above all of the moving averages. We're above previous closing price, this dotted line right here. So I took a long right here, and it didn't pop up as quick as I would like for it to pop. And once it started coming down, I got out. I just didn't want to have two big losers back to back. And by the way, I did change my rule a bit this morning. I told myself that I'm actually gonna take 3 trades, even if they're all losers, as long as each loss is manageable and small, because the past 2 trading sessions. I stopped trading after having 2 consecutive losses, and I don't think that's the best method going forward. So I told myself I will give myself 3 attempts. So the second attempt was also a loser, but it was a small loss. I got in at around 50.22 or so, and I got out at 50.24. So 50.15. So it was a minor loser. The next trade was on GLW, and GLW was selling off in the pre-market because I guess they reduced their outlook for the year. They provide glass or some type of equipment for smartphones, I believe specifically Apple. So it was down in the pre-market. I think it was down about maybe 7-8% in the pre-market. So what I saw was the stock, it tried selling off in the open, and then it popped up, and then I saw this red line, which is the 200 moving average, which acts as significant resistance or support. So in this case, it was acting as resistance, and the fact that we have this red bar right here, which means it snatched this new high, because up to this point the high of the stock was around 28. This green bar made a new high, but then this new high was snatched by the sellers. So it told me that sellers are in control of this stock. So I waited for it. I wanted to put a sell limit order at this price, but I kind of chickened out. But once I saw this was acting as resistance, I jumped in, and then after that, I'm not too proud of how I managed the trade. I got in right here. I covered my full position right here, because my last 2 trades were losers, like small losers, and I didn't want to mismanage this one since I was already profitable. And we bounced off VWAP, this black line right here. My plan was to hold it until low of day, or at least cover the majority of my position at low of day. But once we bounced off VWAP, this black line, I got out, and I locked this in profit. Later on, I saw that it sold off below VWAP, which told me that the stock was weak and sellers were still in control, and this 200 moving average was coming down, still acting as resistance. So when it popped up, and this blue line is the 20 exponential moving average, which is acting as a resistance in this situation. So I shorted it right here, and it went down, but once it got above all the moving averages and the 200, I got out for a small loss. But the trade on GLW was a winner nonetheless. And then after that, yeah, I just kept trading. I traded KHC again. It was just, yeah, I'm not gonna do a recap of all the trades because it was, I was trying to capture little moves here and there. The trade that it's not that I'm proud of, but on AMD. So I realized that the morning was very choppy, and I decided to place one trade, or actually two trades before lunch, and just walk away. So let me pull up AMD. AMD is also a stock that I watch all the time. I noticed that on the daily chart it tries selling off, but then for the past 3 days it's been slowly creeping up. And if we got above this price right here, I felt we were gonna, at least test this high, or at the very least this moving average on the daily chart, which is the 50 simple moving average. And on AMD, let me see what I did. So on AMD, where's my entry? So right here, I got in at this price right here. I noticed that we tried selling off, but we popped up. I liked this long bottoming tail, which implies that there is a lot of buying pressure, and we were above previous close. This was yesterday's closing price, and we were above these moving averages. So I went long right here. I bought it right here. We had the 200 simple moving average above, but I felt we were gonna pierce through it, and I literally placed the trade. I put in my range order, meaning that I put my low right below here at 30.77, and I put my profit target at yesterday's high, and I walked away, set it and forget it. And sure enough, I never got stopped out, but it didn't make a big move. It did not make a big move. It got as high as 31.09. I was hoping to get to 31.15 at the very least, and if not, at least see if it could get to the 50 on the daily chart. So I got out my position right before the market closed. I did also take a stab at KHC when I came home after lunch. So for lunch, I usually go to the gym, since I live in Los Angeles on the West Coast, and that's about like 9-10 a.m. my time, so I go to the gym at that time. So KHC, I did take a stab at it after I came back from lunch. And the reason I decided to take KHC long right here was because I noticed that the stock did not want to lose this level. This level is 28.24. This level it did not want to lose. So I saw that it kept bouncing off this level once, twice, 3 times, 4 times. So when I came back from the gym, I saw this. I went long right here, and I simply put a stop range order with my stop right here about 28.29, and went to the kitchen to make my post workout protein smoothie and make my lunch or what have you. And by the time I came back, I noticed that it was struggling, so I took off the trade right here for a small profit. But yeah, so these were my trades for today. Not a profitable day, pretty much a break even. Well, a small winner, but it was a break even day for the most part. So tomorrow hopefully will be a better day. We will have more follow through. Today the market was just choppy. The SPY was choppy. Everything was choppy. There was not huge range, and hopefully that's not the case tomorrow. Thank you for watching. I'll catch you tomorrow. Peace.